Hello guys, welcome to my tutorial for this Java series. Have you guys ever wondered why your code gets so long and it's hard to clean it up? Or maybe you guys were thinking there's something wrong with your code, but it's hard to pinpoint where the exact error is. So in this video we're going to check out why is it important to use the method for this Java programming language. In fact, if you're using any other programming language such as maybe Python, we have the function which is the def, and then for C++ we have the function also. The only different thing is that for Java and all of those, this one we're going to call it as method. Now to demonstrate to you why we're going to use the method, first we're going to create a program with the purpose of calculating the area of given width and height. So first thing, we're going to declare our variable. Alright, now it's going to be the data type of integer. So what is required to calculate the area? Of course, first we need to have the area, and then we're going to have the width and height. So the simple formula is area is equal to width multiply by height. And we're going to do the calculation first, which is width times height, and we're going to declare the width as maybe 20 and the height as, let's say, 30. At this point we're trying to, just for the sake of example, we're going to do some simple logic. If the area is more than 400, for example, or maybe the area is more than 100, we're going to say that the area is large enough. Or else, if this area doesn't fit the condition that we have given, we're going to print something else. That is okay, I guess. And let's try to see how the output is. That is okay, I guess. And maybe to add some spices to it, we're going to print the area of it. We're going to do some concatenation, and there we go. The area is 50, which is okay, not so bad, not so good. And we're going to take a look at this code first. At first we're declaring this data type, and then we're going to do some logic and calculation through here. Now you can see that we have some plug and play stuff that we can do here. You see, we can do some plug and play with this thing. Maybe you can copy this code and paste to any of your other program, but before we do that, we have to do something which is called the method or function, as you may call in other programming language. Now the first thing we need to do is, of course, we need to get, or we need to set the width and the height for the area. So we're going to make public, our method is going to be integer, public in area or set area, and then we're going to pass the parameter of width and height. So it's going to show some error. It's okay. The area is width multiplied by height, and then we need to check this. Every method that has a data type like this, either it is integer or the method is a string or something, something like this, you must return something. We give you the parameter, or sometimes you don't need any parameter at all, but in return I want something. Since you have given this, now it's going to be return area. What return does is that it's after performing some action or logic or something, we're going to pass something after this thing is finished. You get the idea? Alright, now it's showing some error here. Why? Because our area here is not declared on the class. This one is declared internally inside the main method. So what we want to do is declare this outside of it. And then we have this error here, but I will explain later. Now, after we have done the calculation of setting the error, we want to do this. We want to print out what we have calculated. So for this, we're just simply going to print a void. I mean, we're going to use the method of void, public void print message with no parameter. And what we're doing is simply system out and print what we have, the area, of course. So the area is concatenation area. Alright, now we have this, and let's not forget about our logic. So public void some logic, and we're going to pass the area itself. So if the area is more than 100 centimeters squared, we're going to print the area is large enough, or else we're going to say that it is okay. Make sure that you have to keep in mind that when you're trying to create a method or function, try to, let's say, try to make them like a plug and place something, you know, like you have a plug, you plug into something and then you can remove, and then you can plug into some other plug and something. So this is the method. This is some terminology that you guys can learn to help you with your programming better. Now let's see, we have this error here, and I did have something wrong with my calculation, and it's okay. Now what we want to do is we want to invoke an object. So the object of this class is of course the main, so it's going to be main equal to new main. What we're doing is we're trying to create a new object, and let's see what this object can do. Main dot, and you can see that we have main.s. You see we have this set area, some logic, and then print message. So how are you going to visualize this? Is that this main here, main object, is from this class, as we have already created the object here, and then in that class we have some other functions or methods that we have already created just now. Now let's say I want to set the area first, and instead of using this, I can use anything that I want. Let's say the width is 15 and the height should be 20, something around like that. And after that, we're going to do some simple logic. It's showing error because this one is not static, but your data type is inside the static method, you see here, and for this we don't have any static. So there are two solutions that you can do. Either you type in static here, and either you put the static here, or the better way is that since main is already inside the static function, we simply invoke it right here. In this case also, and there goes our error. We don't have any error right now. And let's see, we have done some logic to test this one out. We're going to put this one here. Let's see what's the output is going to be. Just now it is 50. If you run our code, this one is going to be 300, and this one has already passed, so I'm just going to comment this out. We're not going to use that right now. And then this is our logic just now, and finally we want to print our message. You see, we already have this one here, but we can also use this. So instead of this lengthy things here of the system out println, we can try to be efficient and clean by using method, as you can see here. And now let's try and see what it is going to be. It's the same. Let's say if I try to change some things here, see, this two is different output, so I'm expecting different output there also. Let's try and run. As simple as that. And I know you guys, some of you might have created a program with a long logic, like if something, and then you're putting if also inside it, or else. I'm not saying it is not, it is not good. I'm not saying that, but it is hard to maintain your code in the future, you know, because I've been there already. At first, yes, I finished my assignment, I finished my job, but then when I try to understand my code in the future, it's hard for me to understand. And by doing this method and function, you are simplifying your code, so it is much cleaner, and it helps you. It does really helps you in the future. So, and here is one more tricks that I'm going to teach you guys. Since you're watching this video, we're going to use some Java documentation. So you might share this code with your friend, you know, so some of them might don't know what your method does or something like that. And what you can do is this method, we're trying to do some Java documentation here. This is one of the things that I like about Java. You can do Java documentation, and it helps other programmers to understand your code. Okay, now this method set the area by calculating width and height. And now if let's say, can you see this? Can you see this method set the area by calculating width and height, and the parameter that we are accepting is the width and the height. This is Java documentation that you guys always see. Let's say where can I show this example? Yeah, this one. This is from the Java documentation, and they are doing the same thing. Let's say I control and click this, and you can see this is called Java documentation, and it is very clean. It helps you in your future understand your code, so you don't forget what you did last year or 2 years past. Can do the same with the rest of this. And it's one of the fun way for you to understand your code. It's one of the fun way for you to code. In fact, this method performs some simple logic, and it accepts the parameter of the area. And finally, the print message. Simply print the area calculated. Alright, now let's do some recap. Why did we use method? Because we want to clean our code. We don't want to put any mess, and we want to help ourselves in the future to understand our code better. And it is very highly maintainable. It is highly maintainable. You can maintain your code in the future. And also it clears some confuse that you might have in the future. And you might say, what is this and what is that, what this does and what that does. Okay, now to help you again, make sure you type in your method name should be very understandable. Like this one is set area, and then we have some logic. This one is not very good, but just for the sake of example. And this one, okay, again, this one is good. We have the print message. Okay, and besides that, I taught you how to use the parameter, width and height, and this one is going to be used here. How do you use it? This one is the width, and this one is the height. And then finally, we have learned how to use the Java documentation. How do you use it? / double asterisk and press enter. This will work on any IDE that you use, either it is NetBeans, JetBrains, or even Eclipse. Okay, I don't know, some might not, but this one is very easy to memorize. And the one that differentiate it with the other command is that we have these 2 asterisks here, right? And besides that, we have already learned about using static. This is some basic things that you need to know, because when you're trying to create a lot of method, you're going to face this. We're going to face a lot of issue with data types and all that. Why? Because the data type should be static, but when you declare it here, it is not static. So the program get confused. What are you trying to do, man? We want some static something, but you gave us something else, and that is why we are using this. We invoke an object of main. Where do we get this? Main is from the main class. Let's say if your class is ABC, and then this is going to be ABC also, and this one is not compulsory to be main. You can put anything you want, but make sure to put it with something that you can easily understand in the future also. See, programming is not about creating some software and then you're going to leave it like that to rust or something. No, you need to have some love of your code, and you need to try and maintain it in the future. Programming is a process of learning also, and you have to have a good habit of how are you going to write your code. And since you have already learned this, in the future, let's say you are trying to learn Python. Python is your new programming language. I bet that one of the first thing that you're trying to search is how do you use method or function in Python, because this one is very, very good, and it's one of the fun thing and great thing that we have in object-oriented programming. And that concludes this video. I hope it helps you guys to learn something new, and I might miss some point here, I think, but this one is pretty good for the beginner to learn programming, not to learn to code I say programming but not about code. Those are two different things. Coding is just writing some code. Programming is learning how are you going to write a good program, how are you going to learn the logic. If you learn good programming, you can learn most of the language easily. So try to learn and try to be a good programmer. And that's all, I think. And thank you for watching. Give it a like if this video is helpful. And if the audio is not clear, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry with the audio. I don't have much resource for that. And thank you for watching.